Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group A, Discourse Analysis in Translation, and now we are going to explain about translating Javanese cultural words. This presentation presented by Maulida Rahma Dyani, Syafana Virgianti, and Putri Seviana Audrylia. Our presentation outline: first, translating cultural words; second, place names and Javanese concept of time; third, birth symbolism; four, food, clothing, and housing; five, establishes organization and religious customs; six, cultural gestures and habits; seven, terms of address; eight, translating poetic figurative language; 9. Sound, stress patterns and rhythm. 10. Onomatopoeia. 11. Metonymic reference. And the last, idiomatic expression and clues. And the first material is translating cultural words. According to Network, culture is a way of and its manifestation peculiar to one's speech community. The shared tradition, habits, way of doing things and way of saying things. Anyone who does not belong to the particular culture group may not share the same understanding. He further argues that cultural words are associated with a particular language and cannot be translated literally into TL. As discussed previously, the translator's cultural orientation and motivation play an important role in choosing the appropriate procedures. The choice of procedures ranges from transference to culture conventional analysis. New work asserts that transference block comparison as it emphasizes the culture and includes that message, while cultural componential analysis is considers the most accurate translation procedures as it excludes the culture and highlights the message. To choose which procedure is best, the translator must also bear in mind the TL reader's linguistic level. To deal with cultural words, the translator employs procedures recommended by Network, Pinay, and Darbulnet, such as a cultural equivalence, descriptive equivalence, functional equivalence, cult, pervasive, or transportation, etc. Second, place names and the Javanese concept of time. The first type of cultural words deals with ecology, which includes geographical features, season, flora, and fauna. Places in Java are mostly named after the geographical features dominant in the area. For example, Wono, it means forest; Giri, Argo, gunung, it means hill; Kali, it means river; and Jurang, it means ravine or gorge. The other cultural name of place is Alun-Alun. It means large central open lawn squares located near the king's palace. Time division is another unique cultural element in Javanese, as seen in the complicated and overlapping Javanese calendar. The Javanese calendar consists of multiple, overlapping but separate, measurements of times, called cycle, which is include Pasaran or 5 market day week, Gregorian and Islamic 7-day week, the solar moon cycle called Mangsa, the lunar moon cycle called Wulan, the year cycle called Tahun, and the 8-year cycle called Windu. And there are some other words that are Bahlati is a type of healer using black arts, commonly called Dukun Santet, which a doctor. Kliwon is one of the days in the 5 market day weekly cycle in the Javanese calendar. In order to bridge the communication gap between the ST and TL readers, the translator resorts to amplification by providing a preface of what word means as shown by the underlined sentence. The third material is about bird symbolism. The next cultural word is related to fauna. Birds also have a significant value in Javanese culture. Birds are often used as symbols of prosperity and metaphors of people, characters, and behavior as reflected in the Javanese lovebirds, and using birds as nicknames. The names of Javanese birds are linguistic and culturally different from those of similar species of bird found in America or Australia. Some species of birds may not even be present in the target culture. For example, the bird Sri Gunting, crow-billed drongo, which are typically found only in Asia, is translated into schizotail and schizertail. The word Sri Gunting consists of two words, namely Sri, the definite article used as an honorable title, and Gunting or schizer. The word itself literally means the schizer. Physically, the Sri Gunting's tail looks like schizer, which snippers the translator to, to render the word into schizer tails to describe the physical appearance of the bird. The translator must consider this cultural load when translating the bird Sri Gunting. Calquing Sri Gunting into schizer tails enables the readers to conjure up the image of the bird having a schizer-like tail. However, a preface must be added to compensate for the loss of cultural information and to convey the author's intention. 4. Food, clothing, and housing. Examples of material culture include food, clothes, and housing. Names of food, clothing, and housing are highly cultured. Each, each culture has a specific and unique expression of its culture identity. Words such as serundeng, onde-onde, kaplus, su- surian kopiah, belandar, joglo are examples of typical Javanese cultural words regarding food, clothing, and housing. Linguistically and culturally, these words do not have one-to-one correspondence in another culture because these words uniquely represent the Javanese culture. They are a manifestation of the very Javanese culture and its people ways of life. Onde-onde, kaplus is translated into sweet rice balls, and zizem cover balls of glutation dough. Sayur sambal goreng tauco, red chili pas vegetable dish with tauco. Bilangkon or belangkon is a type of headwear and surjan is a type of shirt. Lincak and amben are types of bamboo furniture commonly found in Javanese houses. Lincak is a long bamboo bench with the reclining back as set, whereas amben is a wider bamboo bed. In traditional kitchen, amben is placed near the earthen stove for the woman of the house to sit and prepare the cooking materials. Balok Tritisan Pendopo refers to the beam supporting the events of the open pavilion.
Next
And
topic.
the next material will explain by Syafana.
Okay, next topic is stabilized organization and religious customs. This section will deal with translating political, social, legal, and religious organizations, customs, and ideas. Burung-Burung Manyar is a historical novel set against the backdrop of Dutch occupation, Japanese occupation, and Indonesian independence. Political terms and acronyms are inevitably mentioned in the novel as Konil or Koninklijk Netherlands Indisch Leger or Royal Netherlands East Indies Army. Second is Nevis, Netherlands East Indies Intelligence Service. Kenpetai or Japanese Secret Police, and the last Heiho auxiliary soldiers. Translation procedures used to translate these political acronyms and terms vary from using the recognized translations as in Nika. Functional equivalent as a Knil or Royal Dutch Army and Navy's Military Intelligence Service. The functional equivalents of Kenpetai and Heiho are not entirely inaccurate. Kenpetai is the Japanese secret police, and it is translated into Japanese military police, while Heiho, which meant Indonesian soldiers serving as Japanese auxiliaries to fight allies, is translated into Japanese aid infantry. When translating institutional terms and acronyms, it would be better to refer to the recognized translation that is generally and officially acceptable if one is available in order to avoid translation. None is available as in the case of Heiho and Kenpetai, the translator must find the closest functional equivalent. The religious customs and ideas of one culture are often untranslatable. Religious and cultural festivals such as Gerebekan, Bekakak, or Sepaten are culturally loaded terms that do not have equivalents in English. 6 is cultural gestures and habits. These include words related to social gestures and habits such as kunjungan and nyadran. Kunjungan is food sent over the government officials or the priai to show respect or thanksgiving on a special occasion. While nyadran is a cultural occasion when people pay a visit and clean the graves of the family members before the fasting month of Ramadan. They usually bring flowers of many kinds to put on the deceased ancestor tombs. Next is terms of address. The section will be devoted to a discussion of translating Indonesian and Javanese terms of address. This included pronouns, words, phrases, names or titles, or some combination of these used to address someone and reflect politeness and deference. Terms of address can be polite, impolite, friendly, unfriendly, or neutral. Members of speech community of a particular culture learns from their parents, their teachers, and their peers how to understand the world they live in, including what pronouns of address or politeness formulas to use when speaking to whom, when giving public lectures, when telling stories to friends, and in other communicative contexts. The style of utterance is adapted to the perceived social position, status, age, etc. of the addresses as well as to the social relationship, friendship, familiarity, power, etc. Javanese and Indonesian people value social position, age, and kinships relations very highly, and they adapt the style of their utterance accordingly. The Javanese language, according to Crates, symbolizes the etiquette system or politeness for Javanese. There are three speech levels to reflect the degree of politeness, namely Krama, or high honorifics, Madhya, middle honorifics, and Ngoko, low honorifics. The basis of linguistic forms and speech level is determined by the social position, age, and status of the participants. Translating poetic and figurative expressions. In addition to cultural words, the novel Burung-Burung Manyar contains poetic language and figurative expressions, which are not easily translatable to English. This poetic language is created by means of poetic device or rhetorical styles, which are unique since each language has its own specific and culturally bound rhetorical styles and conventions. Author's stylistic devices are influenced by his culture and manifested in the st. The author's rhetorical style includes fi- includes figure of speech such as alliteration, assonance, metaphor, simile, metonymy, onomatopoeia, pun, synecdoche, etc. Since words and sounds carry meaning and the relationship between words, sound, and their meaning are arbitrary cross-language, translating these figures of speech into English is challenging. When the essay emphasizes form as well as content, translation is impossible without some compromises. Adherence to form will sacrifice meaning, and a focus on the meaning and content will sacrifice the beauty of the essay. A translated, a translated text or target text will inevitably sound and look differently from the source text. The degree to which this difference may relies heavily on the degree to which the rhetorical forms are relevant to the shaping of meaning and function that the text intends to serve. The following sections challenges in translating figures of speech, onomatopoeia, metonymic reference, and idiomatic expressions will be discussed in depth. The challenges mainly deal with the translator's dilemma between negotiating form and meaning and preserving style and sense. The next will be explained by Maulida.
Thank you, Syafana. Our next topic is sounds, stress patterns, and rhythm. Mom Care asserts that every language has its particular patterns of sounds and rhythms. Predictably, a translated text will sound different from a source text that is rich in figures of speech. The pronounced difference between the SL and TL linguistic and cultural features makes translation nearly impossible. In terms of Putri or any text whose form constitutes its beauty, the translator is only able to reproduce the aesthetic values in the ST. An example can be seen in the translation of the marching song below. Next. This is the example of sounds, stress patterns, and rhythm. Next, please. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is the phenomenon of mirroring natural sounds in human languages. It is a form of auditory sign in which the name of an object is derived from the imitation of the sound it makes. Thus, the sound and the meaning it carries are very closely connected. In other words, onomatopoeia is iconic due to the direct likeness between the sign and its referent. For example, words like meow, meow, wink, oink, oink, ngeng, buzz will not be possible in English because English syllables cannot begin with the consonant M, which is common in Indonesian, Malay, and Javanese. Metonymic reference. Metonymic reference is a type of common metaphor used to call a thing not by its own name, but by any reference associated with the name. It is based on the principle of substituting one word for another word within the same domain. Therefore, the metonymic reference helps readers to understand the sign better in comparison with its referent. In Javanese and Indonesian, it is common to refer to someone using metonymy, and the examples can be seen in Burung-burung Manyar. The phrase gadis macan tutul is a good example of a metonymic reference based on clothing and behavior. Gadis macan tutul can be glosed as a leopard girl, and in the ST, it refers to both the chief's daughter who moves silently like a leopard cub, and the girl wearing a leopard sport military fatigue jacket, as in clearly shown in the comparison between ST and TD. Gadis itu menunduk hormat malu-malu dan menggantungkan pelita bekas gelas selai pada balok belandar emperan muka. Lalu diam tanpa suara seperti anak macan tutul, atau kebayanya bukan kebaya, tetapi pasukan payung USA. Pergi sambil sekali lagi menunduk hormat. The author refers to the young woman as gadis macan tutul because she wears a US fatigue or camouflage jacket which resembles the spots on a panther's or leopard's skin, and she also moves silently like a leopard cub. The author draws a connection between what she wears and her behavior to create a metonymic reference. Thus, in the ST, the phrase gadis macan tutul is based on these two situations, while in the TD, this noun phrase is translated into the young woman with the camouflage jacket. The TT only translates what the girl wears, not her behavior. However, this difference between ST and TT does not contribute significantly to the plot of the story, hence, the loss is justified. Idiomatic expressions and cliché. There are some idiomatic expressions and cliches in Burung-burung Manyar that are difficult to translate. These expressions reflect the Javanese cultural philosophy. An example of idiomatic expression is exemplified in the following example. Tanpa tedeng aling-aling, without a shield to cover, preferring to say whatever they feel, outside the shelter of the garden wall, as the saying goes. The idiomatic expression tanpa tedeng aling-aling literally means without hiding behind shield or cover. This phrase is commonly used to describe straightforwardness and lack of pretense in dealing with conflicts. Figuratively, it means having an open attitude or outspoken personality. It does not mean outside the shelter of the garden wall, as suggested by the translator. Okay, I think our material is enough. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.